this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone, man. He was just talking. He was talking about old time shit, sit down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's gonna be.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life. That footage ended up going to 50 Cent.
And maybe that's what Snoop went through, I don't know. But let the people know, because it was too early back then. Pac just had died.
The documentary Sean Combs. The Reckoning came out, many people thought it would focus only on one main story. But online talk quickly pulled in other famous names from the music industry. People started making claims about silence, hidden pressure, and material that never made it into the film. Old clips and comments were twisted into bigger stories. Social media spread the uncertainty and pushed wild theories about what might come next. When you remove all the noise, the situation looks much less dramatic. It's driven more by exaggeration than real facts. In this video, we break down how these claims started, what was actually said, what the documentary showed or left out, and which points are confirmed, denied, or still unproven.
With Dave Mays, and he's speaking on, Tupac and Snoop being cool, and how, after Tupac got killed, Snoop started hanging out with Diddy. And, he also speaks on how, Snoop, he did the Steve Harvey show with Diddy after Tupac got killed. Check this out.
Okay. It's downloading right now.
Then you look at the scenario how everybody used Pac to make their stuff famous or make their project better. You got people who use their songs for Pac and tell them how much they love Pac, but they do songs for Puffy. You got Steve Harvey, old bit that, this motherfucker tell him, well, Pac, according to everybody else, he brings Snoop and Puffy on there and say, these the dudes who's running this in the East Coast, West Coast.
What's up, Snoop?
What's up, huh? Hey, whoa, wait a minute, fellas here. I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my peoples.
Real, that's what we came in for. We came in and lighted up and rotted up. We make music to air up.
Now, Pac, if you love Pac so much, how you with the motherfucker everybody say got something to do with the first get down that happened to Pac in New York, then the second one.
What you think about Suge comments? And I never asked you this before, but did you have an issue with Snoop hanging out with Diddy after Tupac got killed?
I always felt that was wrong. I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm talking about from that, like now, okay. You know what I mean? I'm 46, Snoop probably early 50s. If he figured out now, he might go by the opinion like, okay, Puffy had nothing to do with Pac. We grown now. If he want to be his friend, no problem. But back then, that was just awkward. You know what I mean? And the reason why it was awkward to me that I never even like it because you knew how Pac felt about this individual. You know what I mean? Even if you don't agree with him, you probably could have said, you know what, I probably ain't gonna come out, publicly with this because until things clear up. So I really know I could be certain that, they didn't have nothing to do with Pac. But it's like, it was no, okay, it is what it is. So that I never really respected that back then.
So you had an issue with it. You didn't like it?
Never really liked it. It just was a strange look because you was Pac boy. You know what I mean? Puffy, it's clear they had some issues with Pac. And Pac died and all of a sudden you chilling with Puffy. Back then it just, okay, now you can say what you want. You go all grandfathers, I guess. You know what I mean? That's different now. But back then I think it was weird, it was tasteless. You know what I mean? It didn't seem like you really had that much love for Pac. You could have just, you know what I mean? Unless he pressured them or like questioned Puffy, like, yo, what's up with this? What's up with that? Then you could say, you know what I mean?
Even though Snoop Dogg's name never appeared in court records, indictments, federal charges, or anything tied to Diddy's conviction, people started linking him to serious allegations online. This happened mostly because he's been in the music industry for a long time. His connections and shared circles with others were turned into suspicion. After the documentary came out, comments from a former bodyguard suggested that not everything was included in the final version. That small hint quickly turned into big claims that names, footage, and details were deliberately left out. Rumor channels then reused old clips, prison interviews, and unverified stories. Being visible in the same industry suddenly became proof of something wrong. In reality, none of this is actual evidence of wrongdoing. It only shows that Snoop existed in the same world at the same time as others.
I believe somebody mentioned that they seen a video with me and the dude Prodigy or one of the dudes from My Deep, as if I was with. They don't know the backdrop of that. I went to his hotel room ready to fight. Like, bro, I'll fight everybody in that room one-on-one. Even if I lose, it doesn't matter. The Outlaws was with me. My homie Tiny, the Mexican homie, was with me. I didn't go there and say, let me get in a video with these guys. I went there knocking on their door, doom, doom, doom. Tell them dudes to come out. What's up with y'all? What's up with you and Pop? You got a problem with Pop? Because we could just fight like man to man, face to face, and then shake hands. That was my approach with them. But when they told me they didn't have no problem, I don't mind being with you. You know what I mean? I don't mind shaking your hand because they told me they had love for Pop. So that's different. You know what I mean? If he come out and say, well, I already, I questioned Puffy about it. I believe that he didn't, he loved Pop. That's my opinion. I can move the way I want to move. So when people try to, I noticed somebody, I think on your page do that. Well, Napoleon was in the video with Mobb Deep. They don't know how I got in that video with Mobb Deep. You know what I mean? I pulled up on him but I'm the type of person, I never been no bully type of person. You know what I mean? If I talk to a person like a man and they tell me face to face, look, I got love for Pop, I'm comfortable to know if I can look in their eyes and if I believe what they said, I have the right to say, okay, no problem, I believe you. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what Snoop went through. I don't know. But let the people know because it was too early back then. Pop just had died. You know what I mean? Like he had the right to say, the reason why I'm rolling with Puffy, I questioned him about my homie. He gave me this answer. So then he did what he had to do. But it just, you know what I mean? I never really agree with that, to be honest. The same way I couldn't be on the stage with him. When they wanted to do that tribute, I just couldn't do it.
This is where the real problem starts. When just being connected to someone replaces real proof, suspicion takes over facts, and stories move far away from the truth. The documentary was never meant to be an attack on the whole industry. It focused clearly on one person, his rise, the power around him, and the documented behavior that led to his legal conviction and 50-month sentence. It used verified accounts, looked at patterns backed by real records, and stayed tied to the court process. What it did not do was accuse unrelated people without evidence or show anything suggesting others were criminals. Claims that information was held back to protect someone are still unproven. The creators have always said they only included material that was verifiable and legally supported.
Documentary thinking he was going to come out triumphant.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how this started, is he started filming himself and getting this footage because he thought he was going to beat everything. Okay,
Diddy
that makes sense. Okay.
Has a relationship
with Netflix. I knew that.
With
Ted Sarandis. I saw that. Yes. Okay.
And he's filming it there. But of course, when you get, obviously it wasn't a clean sweep on the prosecutor's side, but you're still going to prison.
Yeah.
He basically kind of scraps it. It's not also Netflix is saying, because they commissioned it, right? Netflix is saying, all right, cool, just turn over what you got. And what we'll do, we'll make it what it is because we're just following reality. Diddy's like, well, hold on now. If I lost the case, I'm down to still do it with you, but I got to be able to control it. Now, Diddy was probably going to kind of shape this doc to make it look like, hey, this was malicious prosecution. They kind of went really hard at me. Mm-hmm. I'm not a perfect guy, but I am a good guy.
Yeah.
And Diddy was like, I need to be able to craft it. And Netflix was like, no, you're not. And he's like...
Well, my question is, did he sign the footage over to Netflix so they own it? Mm-mm. Like, how were they able to do this without his...
No, but he didn't pay for it. So, essentially, they're calling it a payment error.
Oh.
So, essentially, the deal falls apart, or he's like, yo, we're not going to do this.
So awkward.
And the people who did the work that have all this footage, they're like, so wait, you told us to film because this is going to be on Netflix. Now you're saying Netflix doesn't exist and we're not getting paid because Diddy was going to pay with Netflix money. And Netflix realized this, and they went to the filmers and said, hey.
The documentary showed restraint in a world full of clickbait and shock value. It avoided naming people or adding details that weren't backed by records or credible witnesses. That careful approach is exactly why claims about hidden footage remain unproven. No real clips have ever come out. No court documents mention Snoop Dogg. No investigators have named him as someone under investigation. In fact, after the documentary released, Snoop publicly supported 50 Cent. He openly stood with him and showed no sign of worry or tension. That kind of public support usually doesn't come from someone afraid that something bad might surface.
To look at this through the prism of a modern-day rhetorical genius. A modern-day rhetorical genius. We're talking about the one, the great, the 50 Cent. All right, this guy's skill at rhetoric is absolutely next level. And this totally ties in with, you know, how he famously is a big fan of Sun Tzu, The Art of War. Now, rhetoric with a capital R, I can just give you the definition of that. That's basically public speech, particularly public speech that is to persuade. Any persuasive public speech is rhetoric, right? Now, we kind of break that down into two subcategories of rhetoric with a lowercase r and dialectic. Rhetoric is essentially everything else. And really, what moves the needle with like 97% of people and 100% of groups, okay, is, in fact, rhetoric with the lowercase r. So again, stuff like this, 50 Cent is an absolute master of. Basically, you know, he dropped this doc, this 50, this Sean Puffy Combs doc, and it's just kind of set the internet on fire. It's beating out Stranger Things. Like, it's a wild ride to watch, right? And one of the things that he does is he breaks down Diddy's character on...
Because he wanted them to both Suge and Pac.
In the car?
They only Pac, and they don't Suge. So allegedly, they got paid $500,000. The $500,000 was paid to the guy on the right, all the way to the right. You see the guy on the right?
Corey.
He's the one allegedly that got the $500,000. And that money never went to Keefe D or anybody else. The guy on the left is the one that stole the chain, the chain, which was a Death Row Records chain. That's a way of saying, I got your rapper's chain. Because if you were one of the guys, Death Row. So long story short, this whole thing isn't recording that he said this. So what does Diddy do? Rob, can you pull up this song? It's a song called Black Rob, featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. If you can just type in lyrics, okay? So he gets $1 million. Can you go to the lyrics? And Diddy's in the lyrics when he gets started. Go a little bit lower. Boom. Can you type in the word in there, Rob? Nice guy. Type Control F, nice guy. Okay, right there. Look at it's 1999. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Been nice too long. I'm just gonna start making y'all
blank
disappear. Man, first I'm gonna take your records off the radio. Then I'm gonna erase your social security number. You know, take your birth certificate out flies. I'm gonna do your whole effing family. Ain't nothing but mercy. And then, by the way, in the lyrics, he says, I'll drop $1 million on your head to erase you. Can you type in, I'll drop $1 million, just put Control F. Just go to Google and type this out. I'll drop $1 million on your head. I'll drop $1 million on your head and just put Diddy next to it. Right there. See, it says Black Rob. What song came up?
Right.
I'll drop $1 million on your head. Erase you and your whole family, biatch.
Wow.
He's saying it in the song on what he did to get rid of Tupac.
Common rumor comes from statements by someone who said they had flash drives supposedly linked to a late public figure. They hinted the drives had sensitive material involving big names. Online talk rushed to connect those hints to people like Snoop Dogg without any real proof or context. The family of that late figure publicly said any such materials are not authentic. Authorities have never confirmed what, if anything, was on them. Interview 6. As more information comes out and the fallout continues, the real question isn't who's next. The real question is, will facts win over rumors? Will evidence guide the conversation, or will assumptions keep deciding guilt before any proof appears? What do you think? Are people too quick to believe rumors, or is there more to come? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
For being out there and allowing Misa to come out there to make money, however she was doing it, to feed her family. He vowed down that it's like, yo, I ain't never f***ing with her again, and I ain't never f***ing with him again. Puff and Suge had a conversation behind the House of Blues about was we all right, and Tupac was alive. Tupac wasn't dead. So if it was a war, Suge ain't having no conversation with Puff about we good. I know he could be doing the Hoboken hustle, trying to fool a brother. But had he killed my man or something like that, I wouldn't have no conversation with Puff. I'd been like, yo, you know what y'all niggas done? You know what happened? And it wasn't no conversation like that, brother. It wasn't no conversation whereas that, you know, Suge made Puff feel like I'm gonna get you a payback for what happened to Jake. This was more so that Puff, for whatever reason, Suge, for whatever reason he was mad at Puff, and Puff, for whatever reason he was mad at Suge, it was between them two. It wasn't no whole East Coast wanted the West Coast dead, and the West Coast wanted East Coast to dead, because they still was going out, still chilling, still at places with each other. It was Bad Boy, and it was Death Row. It was no East Coast and no West Coast. West Coast dudes were still coming out on the East Coast getting love. East Coast niggas was still going out on the West Coast getting love. It was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And that's what it was, bro. And it was because of the two CEOs. But Suge tried to straighten it out. I gotta get at the Suge. The Death Row East Coast, the Death Row East was going to bring in Eric B. It was going to bring in Big D. And those brothers was from the East Coast. So now, they was looking for a representative to come to the meeting from Bad Boy so they could straighten out the between Pac and Big and Death Row and Bad Boy. And Puff is the one who refused. Puff is the one to refuse to send a representative or either come himself. And got mad at Zip and them because they were in the Mirage on 57th Street partying with Suge Knight. Got mad at them. And Zip hung up the phone on him behind that.
So, I don't know where you get all the extras from, but they had a conversation at the hospital and all that. That's absolutely not true. Say less, if you know what I mean. But instead of just saying less, since I've been in here, Snoop and other people been having people trying to bail the guy out, Keefy D, because he talking too much. Raging them trying to do stuff for Puffy because they say he talking too much. Even had somebody talk to me and say, hey, you can help him get free. I said, look, I don't have nothing to do with none of that, and I'm not leaving prison to go to nobody county jail. To the point they were saying, well, you can't leave and sacrifice a little bit in the county jail to stop that black man from getting life. Hell no. I ain't wishing bad on him at all because I don't want to see nobody go to prison. And like I told you last time, as I find out more details about certain things, I probably would go to the Vegas County Jail if me and Keithy D with Sellies. We have a good conversation after I give him, six upside his head, another 6 in his body, and another 2. But yeah, that's definitely didn't happen with Snoop didn't go to the hospital.